Hi, this is Mary Baca with Remotely Unique, coming to you from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I have in my studio today a special guest, Kait Tate, who is my marketer. And I've known Kate actually for, several years. And so I wanted to bring her on the show, Kate, and talk about like how you do the marketing for Resilience Integrative Services, not allies for first responders. Do you do?
Not yet.
Okay.
The future's open.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know. That's me projecting, right, and thinking about the future. Resilience Integrative Services, Shifting Perspectives, and Remotely Unique. And so, yeah, when you first started, I guess talk about like when you first started, how you approached it, and if that's changed at all. Because how long has it been now? I want to say like 6 months.
Yeah, it's been about 6 months. I think the biggest thing that has helped me, especially with your companies, is also being intuitive. And so a lot of the posts, I try to gauge what's happening in the world, what you're trying to push as for each company, and then using that to kind of market and create a brand story for those companies.
I love that you mention intuition, that you use that, because one, I think oftentimes people don't realize that you really can use intuition in like anything you do, any profession, Mm-hmm. And I think, as you well know, I think it's just such an asset to when you have somebody like that working. And I can tell that you do that because you're always like right on point, Mm-hmm. And we don't talk. I mean, we have meetings like once a month probably, but it's not like we talk all the time. And you always just seem to highlight what I would want you to highlight.
Yeah. I definitely take, especially from what you are currently trying to push on your personal. So, like, if I see you talking a lot about, like, cleansing or crystals or, like, those kind of stuff, I'll try to incorporate that into your businesses.
Nice. Yeah, and so has that been since the beginning, or what have you noticed, like, in changes in your strategy or approach
I
from
think
6 months ago?
Working more with you and just like learning more of the business and asking questions and doing my own research. I think at the beginning I was just like, all right, I think I have a grip, but we'll just see how it goes. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like now I'm pretty confident in, because each company is similar, but they all have a strong stance that are very different. So
yeah,
I think
talk about that from because I don't ever really. You're in a unique situation for me that you get an outside perspective. So I'm interested to hear how you would say what you just said. What's the similarities and what are the differences?
I think holistic kind of ties through all of the companies, and I think helping people and bringing total wellness in a new, fresh light is the similarities, and I think what you push is like different. So like I feel like resilience is more team-based. You're trying to push a team to help people, while shifting is helping train a team.
Interesting.
And then obviously so remotely, you have topics from marketing to astrology to canine units, and so there's a big wide variety in each one even.
Yeah,
so.
That's probably the widest variety, I think, is the Remotely Unique, the podcast, because, mm-hmm. I don't know. That's my whole point, is to reach just a variety of people, to have something for everybody.
Yeah. I think maybe the hardest thing has been is some of them is like, all right, we're teaching people about cleansing and crystals, but then in the same company, you're trying to teach people how to help first responders. And so I feel like sometimes like people view those two worlds as not colliding. And so it is my job is to kind of help bridge that gap to know that you are bridging that gap to help people through.
Right, and to show people how that is. How mm-hmm. is that? Where is the bridge for that? Yeah. And actually all the businesses, and this is basically what you're saying, there is a bridge with all the businesses, all 4 businesses, because sometimes people, when I tell them I have 4 businesses, they're like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, yes, it is, but there's a bridge with all of them. So they do have their uniqueness, mm-hmm. but they also have very similar things. How long have you been doing marketing in general?
So as an artist, I've always had to market myself, and so being like marketing my art has been about 10 years, and then I kind of just translated that in different jobs I worked at like a rehearsal studio and the radio stations and even like some corporate real estate jobs. And so I kind of just take things from each place I go to and I just enhance my marketing and I stay up to date. And I think the biggest thing is to do your own research. I think if you expect to learn everything in the job you have without doing outside work, you're not going to succeed as much.
Yeah, you must really, as a person, like a lot of variety because you don't market for just like one, not only the marketing you do for me, but in general, you don't like restrict it to like certain kinds of companies, like say wellness and fitness companies. Like you pretty much are versatile, it seems like.
And there's different companies, it is more fun, to market for, if you're marketing for a grass cutting company, it's kind of stale, but I'm good at it, but this
I can get into the grass.
I can do it, but working with you, it's fun because it's something I stand behind and I like to help people and bringing wellness, and so it's fun.
Yeah, well, you took my intuition series, so you are a certified intuitive guidance coach, and that's something you and I had talked about you doing for the future, in the future for resilience, is being an intuitive guidance coach, and that's getting ready to come up here because we're starting that program, stepping into you, reinventing yourself, and you're going to be involved in that and doing some art for that and some coaching, so that's exciting. Have you had any thoughts recently about that? We just talked about that not too long ago, so you may not have had time to think about it.
No, I have been thinking about it, and personally, all my art is of women, and so I like this program a lot because it is kind of geared towards helping women, and so I am just really excited because I feel like I am continuing to change and grow and evolve, and sometimes you need a sidekick during that process, and so I'm excited to be that sidekick for other women.
Yeah, and you have gone through a lot of changes. I mean, the newest big, huge life change is having a baby. So talk about that a bit, because I'm sure there will be, people listening to this that can totally relate. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk about the challenges and the wonderful aspects of it and all of that.
Yeah, it has been wonderful. It is crazy, trying to work from home and take care of a baby. It's like 2 jobs in one. I need like 8 arms and 2 bodies, and one of them needs to be sleeping at all times. But it's been exciting, and right now I'm kind of just learning to balance things, and not let it, like exhaustion and like the new flow of life, trap my creativity. So that's kind of where I'm at, because it is easy to kind of get in that capacity of like, man, I'm so tired, and then to push being creative. So right now I'm kind of learning how to make that balance happen.
Well, the cool thing, and I've done this a little intentionally, but it just expands even more, is the women that are going to be involved in the reinventing yourself, they've had to reinvent themselves for different life experiences, and so each of you bring to the table, and who can't relate to that? I mean, everybody goes through that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is what varies. But everybody goes through a time in their life when they want to or are forced to reinvent themselves, whether it's just developmental. So maybe, somebody in their 20s is not going to have the same identity or same goals or different things when they're 40, and so even something as simple as that, or if somebody goes through a divorce, there's a lot of change in identity during that time. When somebody becomes a mother, that's a huge change in identity, and so,
It's hard because you're just trying to find yourself in this new identity. You have aspects of your old life, but you really are a different person. And so sometimes that can be a struggle to kind of let go of things. And recently, my husband's grandpa called us and was talking to us, and he said, the biggest thing, you have to lose your old life to gain a new one. And I have really been holding on to that, because it's like, what I was before and how things moved is no longer going to be. It's never going to
Right.
get back to that. It's now a new life and learning how to move within that. So
Yeah, that's such a great point. It's amazing how somebody can say one thing, huh? And it just really has such a huge impact. How has that impacted you? I mean, beyond just, kind of thinking about it, consistently, like how has that helped you? Because it sounds like it helped you.
yeah, it really helped me because I've been trying to like hold on to some things, and I just realized I need to just let it go. And right now it's like, since my baby is only 3 months, it is a hibernation stage, like they do need you a lot more, it's not always going to be this hands-on. And so I kind of just remind myself that it's just stages and things change with each stage. But it's never going to be back to when I was tired and I'd be like, I'm going to give myself a whole Sunday, Like that will never be for a while, And it is nice that my husband and I are having kids early because then we'll have our 40s,
Yeah.
And so I always tell him, like, all right, when I'm 50, I can have my Sundays.
You're all looking forward 30 years.
Yeah, so.
Well, and the great thing is you and Jordan make such a great team. He's a very hands-on dad, and so
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot.
And the fact that we both work from home in the same field, so like our marketing and our graphic design and all of that feeds off each other. And if one of us gets stuck creatively, we'll ask the other, like, hey, what do you think of this design? And we push each other. So that is nice.
Yes.
And, I think just if it's not a spouse or a friend, just having someone to constantly push you in whatever field you are in. I think you have your intuitive team, and then you're just a go-getter.
I have my spirit team,
Mary pushes Mary.
And that, I know, I think so. But really, yeah, Spirit texts me a lot about like names for programs and ideas. It's amazing, So, yeah. And I just keep myself going. Well, when you enjoy what you're doing, it's easier to keep going because, I really look forward to every day. And helping people is kind of the common denominator in all my businesses. And so how can that not motivate somebody, right?
It is fulfilling.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling. With the Stepping Into You program, the Reinventing Yourself, it'll be interesting. One of the things, we talked about this briefly the other day, that I want you to do is to be able to take, like, say we have a woman that comes in and it is that situation, somebody that's gone through a divorce or a breakup, and they say, I want to change the way I look. It will be so awesome to have you as a coach, but also an artist, to put that to paper and say, well, how do you want to look? From fashion, all the way from fashion to fitness. And then, we have personal trainers on board now. We just are starting to, took community, body, and mind gym, but they do so much more, but they're going to be part of this program too. So, so that's going to be exciting, But yeah, being able to draw for somebody, I didn't ever know really what kind of artist you were, and then on Facebook, before you had the baby, you would draw a lot and post it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And that's when I first got the idea about integrating you into this program in that particular way. Have you any thoughts or ideas about what that will look like or what that might be like?
I think it will be exciting because, especially as like being a woman myself, like you don't know what you look like or you're perceived like to other people, and sometimes you probably don't give yourself the benefit of the doubt. So then sometimes if you get your photo taken professionally or someone draws you, you'll be like, oh wow, I look like that, and then you're not as hard on yourself,
Yes.
because I think women were really hard on ourselves, and I think that things like photography and art helps you kind of step out and be like, I am beautiful, and I can kind of see that a little bit because someone else portrayed me how they actually see me rather than my tainted eyes.
Right, yeah. I think women especially go through that in society, don't you, where there's a lot of pressure on physical appearance.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And then, a lot of times people have issues since childhood where that really gets distorted. There's even, have you ever heard of body dysmorphia?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's another thing we'll be able to help women with is body dysmorphia. So anything from just, I like the way I look, but I have something else in mind and I don't know what it is, all the way up to somebody that says, I hate the way I look. I hate myself, and everything in between.
In being a creative, I know so many people in the creative field, even just moving here 4 years ago, because I am from Colorado. So I can help more with that, like, hey, I'm looking for someone who does hair. I'm looking for someone who does makeup. I want to do this, I want a vintage style, but I don't know any vintage boutiques. And that's something that, just being a creative, I just have a catalog of people that we can
Nice.
help with.
That is amazing. We hadn't talked about that. That would be wonderful to maybe you and I can talk about that in the next couple of weeks, about who in particular, and meet with them and really see who's a good fit.
Yeah.
A good fit meaning like just people that really want to help other people.
Yeah.
Because that's so rewarding, right? When you can just help somebody be easier on themselves, get to the point where they look like they, had envisioned wanting to get to that point,
Yeah.
I'll probably have you start with me just to every time I start something new, like a new program, I like to go through it first on some level so that I could just experience it,
I think that would be fun.
And even for yourself, like you doing that, even though you'd be the artist, because you don't want me to draw you. All I can draw is stick figures. But
We'll make it a wine and draw night.
Hey, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds perfect. But yeah, and really just kind of experiencing it first, I think will help us really start to really see like what our clients, will present with and how that might feel to them and be for them. And so maybe as we add some of these other people like makeup, we do need somebody that does makeup for sure.
Yeah.
And
I think there's power in meeting with other women.
Yes.
Going through like postpartum and stuff, I was having a hard time. And as soon as I started kind of like joining communities of other women going through the same, it's been easier. It's still hard, but it's easier to kind of be able to relate to. And so I think for this program that we're going to do for women to kind of have someone to be like, oh, I am going through this too, and we're going through it together, like I think life is not meant to do struggles alone,
Yes. Well, I started this program, Stepping Into You, probably about 4 years ago. 3.5 years ago, and I had a workshop series of women, and we did like vision boards and different things like that, and those women bonded. I mean, they still keep in touch with each other today. And so I agree with you. I think it'll be so powerful for them, to be able to do that and be vulnerable enough to share. It's hard to be vulnerable and say, I don't like the way I look. That takes a lot of vulnerability. But to have a supportive group, environment where they can do that and accept each other, it will be powerful.
Because
for sure.
I think any kind of growth, and it's just encouraging to have this program, and I'm excited for it.
I know. I'm excited too. Makeup and what else? What else would be good? For sure that, because, we're all about makeup a lot of times. Some level, right? Some people like to wear a lot of makeup, and some people don't like to hardly wear any, but they like something,
Yeah, even just like tinted chapstick can make you feel a little bit different.
It's true. Yeah. What's the vision for the future with the businesses that you're covering for us?
I just see tremendous amount of growth. I think that we'll be friends forever.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I really like you, and I like spending time with you. That's good,
yes, I know. I was not paid to say that. But I just see growth happening with all the companies and just different things that we can do to market and like just bring more people to each individual company,
Yeah, and the other big thing you're starting to market is the Employee Assistance Program, which that's going to be amazing because some people have never heard of an Employee Assistance Program, so we can enlighten them. But from your thoughts, what's the benefit for an employer to to an employer who sponsors that kind of program for their employees?
Well, I think that, like, there's been a shift, especially with, like, the pandemic and stuff. Like, there needs to be more benefits for employees, you know? I think companies are realizing that employees aren't expendable, you know? And so to be able to keep good employees, I think companies do need to offer benefits. And especially going through such a hard year of the pandemic, there needs to be mental health resources. And mental health doesn't just stop at counseling, you
Right.
know? It's getting energy work done. It's getting massage. Is your pet doing good with you? You know, all of these attributes. And that's why I'm really excited to help market this program, because it's not like any other program. You know, you're offering companies to give their employees so much more than any other company.
Well, and we acknowledge pets as part of the family. I mean, there isn't an EAP company around that does that. So what that means, everybody, is that, so say the way that an EAP is structured is you get, say, like 3 sessions or services every 6 months or every year, whatever it is, right? Those 3 can be used for you, the employee, or their dependent family member, or their pet, because we do acknowledge that their furry family members as family members. So I
Yeah.
think that'll be really good.
And especially since Albuquerque is such like a local based city, there's a lot of small companies that can't afford to offer their companies health insurance. And so I feel like this is a great option, is say you can't afford the big corporate insurances for your companies. Mental health can go a long way, you know. And granted, it's not the same, but anything is anything for anybody, you know. People need resources, and a big thing is mental health. If you feel better, then, because people don't realize that sickness and stuff comes from mental health too. You know, if you're not doing good mentally, your body can start feeling that, and you can get sick more. I know if I go too hard and I'm just not taking care of myself, my body will make me sick.
Right?
You
It's
know?
so true. That's where the holistic piece comes in, is
Yeah.
really seeing people as a whole system, not just, you know, dealing with their medical health and neglecting all the other stuff. Our program really deals with the whole person, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
You know, it really helps. We see, when I do energy work on somebody consistently, like the changes that I see even in their physical health is significant, you know? I mean, for example, like the liver holds on to anger.
Yeah.
And so if a person is, and then, you know, if a person's angry but they're really sad and depressed and not dealing with it, so anger is the secondary emotion of all of that, well, and then their liver, then it affects their liver, and then if all that goes unaddressed, then it just snowballs, you know. So with our program, yeah, it just helps in so many ways. And if you have a happy employee, you're going to have an employee that works, that shows up,
Yep.
that's willing to produce. You know, it's a way for an employer to show their employees that they're appreciated and valued. And it has been a tough year and a half, and it still is not over.
Yeah, it's still going
It's not
on.
over, yeah.
And people are drained. I think every company needs this program for their employees.
Yeah, I think so too. And things too, like we can do brown bag specials where, you know, I can go in and do like a workshop, and that would be included in a contract, you know, once a month, like a wellness brown bag, you know, where people can just over lunch sit there and hear about like adrenal fatigue or how to use essential oils to calm you down, or, you know, different things. So, and it'll be really great. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to building that with you, because you're kind of starting on the ground up, so you'll, you know, not only be an integral part of building the program, because marketing is everything.
It is.
Truly, it's everything.
Yeah. You can have the best service, but if you don't know how to sell it, then
It's so true. And I'm like you, I've had to sell my businesses for years. I couldn't afford a marketer, you know, till now, but like I'm excited because this is going to make it has already made a huge difference in the other stuff, because I don't have time to do my social media. So I always look forward. It's like unwrapping a gift, you know. I look forward to the posts that you put, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, you know. Like if I was just a person reading that, I would just think that was just awesome, you know. Who posted that?
Yeah.
So
and it's nice working with you, because a lot of other companies, there's like an approval process, and then they tell me, but then you give me the freedom to.
I just trust you, and I love what you. Yeah, I love what you do.
So I love. It's something that I like to do, because I get to.
You're creative, yeah.
freedom.
That's very true. I had not thought about that, but that's great. Yeah, and I do. I just trust it, and I'm never disappointed at all, at all. And I can tell I've never had a marketer like this. I told you this the other day, that does the research, that actually looks at our websites, you know, and keeps up to date on what are the new stuff that we're doing and the changes, and integrating that into the social media stuff. I've never had that. So I'm really very appreciative of you.
Well, thank you.
For sure. You're doing, I mean, an amazing job for me.
To me, it makes sense
Appreciate
that
it.
if you're going to be promoting something, you should know what you're promoting, but
Yeah.
I guess that's not how
Yeah,
everyone
it
functions.
isn't. It isn't the way.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just glad that that we connected, that we met. It almost seems symbiotic in so many ways, you know. Talk about for a minute. You've gotten Reiki, so talk about what that's like. And I'm still going to train you. I still am going to train
Yes,
you too.
when I make time with my crazy life.
When Zuri's walking.
Yeah, when Sarah's walking, you know, maybe we'll go through the training together.
Yeah.
But I've had energy work before, but I think it really matters who you're getting energy work from, because I have never had such like seeing the results so well as when I'm getting work from you. And so I've gotten it when I was pregnant.
And I'm not paying her to say this.
I've gotten it
She's
when
not a
I was
retainer.
pregnant, now that I've had my baby, and just to like feel the different energy. And like there's so many times because I'm an empath, I come in and I feel drained, depleted. I feel like I just need like a zap of energy, and I feel like that really is what Reiki is. It really aligns you back. It gives you a charge. It gives you a moment to relax and just kind of tune in with yourself. You know, like I wasn't feeling good, and then now this is where I'm at, and I can kind of take that new refresher and go back home and deal with the tantrum, you know?
Yeah.
So
It certainly helps. It kind of resets things, at least for a few days.
it
know?
does, yeah. And
How is it, you shared that you've struggled with postpartum. How, if at all, was it helpful for that?
I think that it's like one of the biggest things that is helping me through like postpartum depression. I think it's really beneficial, and it just, you know, your body's going through so many hormonal and energy changing effects that just having that moment to regroup with yourself has been tremendous. You know, we have a mom podcast, and we're gonna have Mary come on there and talk about
nice, yeah.
stuff about what you can do for postpartum. And I think it's anything you're going through, you know, if you lose someone, if you're going through a hard time, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're feeling energy, so why wouldn't you get energy work done, you know?
Well, it's great for anxiety and depression, and it's the way that I practice any energy modality is not touching the person. I feel like, well, for one thing, some people have trauma, a lot of people have trauma issues, and so I want to be sensitive to that, but also like I want people to relax. And
Yeah.
I know when I've been worked on, and if I'm touched, like, you know, I kind of like wake up. And so I really want people to just be on the table and just crash out if that's what they do, you know. I know when I worked on you and you were pregnant, you know, Zuri was pretty active.
Yeah,
You know?
I know, she was crazy in my stomach, and I can kind of see how she is now, because I'm like, you were that inside of me. But, what was I going to say? I lost my train. Especially as like you're saying, like not touching. I think it's really nice as like a new mom, because you get so touched out so easily, you know, like constantly holding, rocking, and so to have a relaxing time where you're not being touched or someone's needing your presence. I feel like to me that's why it's so beneficial, because I get so touched out during the day.
That's a really good point, and it also is just time for you. not anybody else. You're not a mom or a wife or anybody in that experience. You know, you're just Kate, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really good, I think, in so many ways. And I can hardly wait to train you. That's had to be put on hold because, you know, you're a new mom, but it'll happen. And it would be great to do, I had run a special, as you well know, for mommy-daughter Reiki, whatever, training, for lack of a better word. But, yeah, it would be great for you, both of you, to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be kind of
To
crazy.
do it. Yeah, I know. It'll be the first. We'll have to experiment with that. And I could do Reiki on baby sometime. I think I should do that on the dog, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He probably really needs it.
Yeah,
Just for all kinds of reasons, you know. Animals get stressed.
She's stressed every day. She's like, every time we're holding or we're talking, like, goo goo gaga to Zuri, she's like, you used to talk to me like that, you know, so.
She's like, where's my,
I know, but then I'm over
sentiments?
here, like, all my attention needs to go to the baby, to work, and I'm like, I feel bad for the dog, because I'm like, I don't even know if I have an ounce to give right now.
Yeah, it's all right, but you know what? You have kept her.
Yep.
Because a lot of people will get rid of their pets, you know?
Oh, I couldn't imagine. She really is my first child.
Yeah, she's so cute. You know, and you never know what she's saying. That look
Yes.
on her face, yeah.
She has human expressions.
She
but-
does. She really does. She looks like the family. It's interesting, you know. They say that our animals look like us, you know, and sometimes I really can see that with my animals too, you know. It's funny, but they just have this blank look, you know, and you're like, what are you saying?
I know. We're like the big brown-eyed crew between my husband, Zuri, and her.
I know, it's true. Zuri's looking a lot more like you now. It's
I know.
interesting how the facial features change.
It is. It's just so crazy how genetics work and stuff like that, and to see as she's growing, because she is so tall and my husband is tall, so it will be interesting because they continue to evolve. Like, they can even change their eye color or their hair color.
Still at this age?
Till they're like 3 years
Wow.
old, and so it'll be interesting to kind of. I think she'll have brown eyes because the chances of her not having brown eyes, of my husband and I both having brown eyes, is slim, you know. But it'll be interesting to kind of see. Where
Yeah,
she
her
becomes.
different stages and stuff. Well, you know, we all thought, you and Jordan included, thought you were going to have twins.
Mhm.
I really felt that so strongly.
I did too, and
was
I was
like-
actually disappointed when I found out it was only one baby. But now
You're
having
like, are
one
you
baby,
sure?
I was
There's
just
not
like,
another one in there?
what were you thinking? You wanted 2 babies at once. But I'm glad. It's crazy now. It would have been crazy. We could have handled it, but
Well, this way you could give her the attention that, you know, she's needing, and still got yourselves. I mean, you know, I watch your posts, and I mean, sometimes you guys are up almost around the clock, you know, with her little patterns that she goes through and her changes, you know, and stages. So it's been hard. What about the other thing is frequency music. So talk about what positive impact that has had at the times that you've used it and what you've used it for.
So you actually suggested to use frequency music, and since then we use it every single night.
Oh, nice.
And so, granted, it can't stop every waking, you know, but it helps us stay relaxed. It helps her know that, especially because I started as we're getting ready for bed, so it established a routine in her that she knows it's about to be bedtime, you know, especially like during this stage they go through like regressions in sleep, and like a routine helps them kind of, even though they're fighting it, they know what's coming. And so when she hears that music, she screams sometimes because she's like, I know it's coming, I don't want it to happen.
You're going to put me to bed, I just know
Yeah.
it.
But it gives a sense of routine and schedule,
Oh,
so.
nice. And do you have like a playlist now, or
No, I just listen to that one over and over.
I'll have to make a playlist? for
Yeah.
you.
I
Yeah.
feel old school because I just want to like burn it on a CD so I don't have to play it from my phone.
Yeah,
But,
you could do that. You know.
you know, I'm a millennial, so when she goes to bed, I want to watch TikToks and not play frequency music from my phone.
There's so much on TikTok. I'm like that too at night before I go to bed
Yeah.
because it's hilarious. You see some really funny things, or some really cool things. I mean, yeah, and then there's
I've
the
learned so many
trashy
like
stuff
life
too, but-
hacks, mom hacks, marketing hacks. It's really, you have to, especially in marketing, you have to keep up with everything. And at first I downloaded it as a joke just to when the pandemic was starting and everything closed down. But then now it's like I try to market my art that way. I try
nice.
to. You learn so much. It's kind of like shorter version of YouTube now.
Yeah.
Besides entertainment.
Yeah, I've only been on TikTok for about 3 months now, so I'm still kind of a newbie, but it's hilarious. Sometimes I'm there laughing so hard, I have tears coming down my eye, out of my eyes. I'm just like, people are just funny.
They are, and it's interesting to think of like how fast technology and like social media has came. That just like 10 years ago there wasn't any of this, and it's like, so it's crazy how fast things evolve, and will continue to evolve, especially with your businesses. Like,
Yeah.
luckily that I kind of keep up with stuff like that. So,
And it can be there's so much positive about social media. I mean, yes, there's negative, and you're going to choose to see what you choose to see, but, there's so much positive. It really gives us access. Look at all the research you've been able to do on mom stuff, and baby stuff. And if we didn't have the internet, you'd have to go to a library to do all of that. So it really is a powerful mechanism and can be so in a positive way.
yeah, and I think with anything, everything is good in moderation,
Right, yes.
And so if you feel like you're comparing yourself too much or feeling like you're sucked in a hole of social media, like cutting back can help. So I think everything is good in moderation.
Right, I agree. Well, thank you so much for going on, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and really just expand that. It feels like, what we do together is going to expand with this program and the EAP, and not only you doing marketing, but you're going to be an actual service provider for resilience, part of the resilience team in that aspect, and I think that'll be awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You can tune in at remotely-unique.com. On the website, you can find us on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon Music. And that's it. Have a great evening. Be good to yourself and to each other. Bye for now.